The agency's Agency of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, is a survey that is managed by TNS Research Surveys, in which the leaders of the country's different ad agencies are asked to vote for the agency that, in their opinion, has made the most noise, the most difference, and has been the most successful creatively and also financially. An agency that other agencies would like to emulate. Past winners have included the DDB Agency, Ogilvy Johannesburg, and the King James Agency twice. The winner walks away with the Gold Angie Trophy, which I have in front of me. It is designed and cast by designer Brian Steinhobel, and it is valued at many, many, many hundreds of rands. The winning agency this year, ladies and gentlemen, was founded in 1998. During its first year of business, it won the Financial Mail's coveted Emerging Agency Award and was nominated as one of South Africa's most promising companies to watch in its second year, and boy, did it perform. Currently, it is the largest independent communications group in South Africa. It is 100% owned by South Africa. Competencies include above and below the line advertising, brand design, public relations, and also digital. This year, it ranked at the top of the Apex Awards table in 2013, and it was the only advertising agency to be ranked as one of the top 40 companies to work for by the Deloitte Best Company to Work For survey in 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2013 Agency's Agency of the Year is Joe Public. Please could I ask to join me on stage, Pepe Marais, along with Oliswa Dashana from the agency. Gentlemen, up you come, and congratulations to you.
It's the commitment to the staff and their philosophy of growth, which is something you don't see very often in this industry.
Creativity is celebrated at Joe Public, and big ideas here are given great freedom. And I think that's what other agencies see, is that freedom to be really, really creative.
It's really because the agency has the most amazing people. I think the people are down to earth. I think we're all centered around one purpose, and that is to really serve our clients.
We really live the growth philosophy and exponential growth, whether it's the growth of our clients, whether it's the growth of our people.
I think for us, winning Agency's Agency of the Year is such a fitting tribute to an agency that really prides itself on being an independent agency.
It's testament to, I think, what Pepe and Gareth also stands for. They're real people, they're down to earth, they're quite authentic. And I think it also attracts that kind of mindset. So I think the people at Joe are real, they are down to earth.
They're hands-on management, they're very close to their clients, very passionate about the client's business.
Joe Public as an agency has a heart that no job is too small, no job is too big. Everybody just climbs in. We're part of one big team.
To Gareth and to Pepe, I just want to say congratulations. Thanks for being so inspiring. Thanks for bringing all of us on this journey with you.
Peps, Papa G, I think congratulations, it's an amazing award. And I think what you guys have achieved here is just testimony to what you guys put out 15, 16 years ago when you started this business, and you've kept to yourself and you've kept true to yourself, and I think that's amazing, so well done.
Well done.
Gareth, Pepe, well done. Awesome to be part of Joe. We're ecstatic and it's awesome. Thanks. Whoop, whoop.
Thanks, Pepe and Gareth, for being so inspiring. You're getting a bonus, don't worry about it. I have it on very reliable authority. So what has made, ladies and gentlemen, this agency a success, but more importantly, as you saw in that short video clip, how has it managed its client relationships? And more importantly, most importantly, to two senior members of this advertising agency, how does it sustain the trajectory? The path of agency success, particularly the type of success this agency has had, is often littered with failure down the line. It's a tough act to follow. What's the secret? How are they going to do it? Andy Rice, if you'll join me on the stage, please, who is going to lead a conversation with the two representatives from Joe Public, as well as Dion Feltzman, who is General Manager Brands Commercial. Dion, if you'd like to join Andy on the stage, along with Thulani Sibeko, who is Group Executive Marketing Communications and Corporate Affairs at Nedbank. Gentlemen, if you'd like to join me on the stage. And Andy Rice, over to you. You're the two brand representatives. So let's find out, ladies and gentlemen, what makes the agency successful how it's going to sustain the trajectory, and most importantly, what is the relationship between client and agency. Now that you've all shaken each other's hands and you know each other, Andy Rice, over to you, sir.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, first of all, enormous congratulations to the Joe Public team, Kalani and Pepe, Agency of the Year, probably the most envied trophy you can get, to be voted that way by your peers. It's said that clients and agencies get each other according to what they deserve. Clients get the agency they deserve, and agencies get the clients they deserve. So I would suggest that there's a pretty strong bond between you guys as clients. Perhaps if I could start with you, Dion, because the Nedbank account moved. Sorry, Clover. My apologies, got the characters the wrong way around there. We saw some pretty brave advertising. I would love to know what happened when the idea of the Milky Way was presented to you with such an enormous amount of production values and commitment. I mean, that must have been a pretty big deal to take that on. What was the secret of having the trust in the agency?
Yeah, you know what, it all starts with building a relationship and building a partnership with your ad agency. I mean, that is, you know, we would never have done this if we haven't had this relationship, and you know, we've gone through bad times and good times, and more so good times with them. And you know what, when this challenge was presented to us, it was really at an economic downturn. So budgets were quite low. We were, you know, cutting down on budgets, but you know what, we had the confidence. Because there was one thing that we always said, you know, in this commodity type of market that we're in, we had to decommoditize our advertising. And, you know, it took some faith because, as you could have seen, it's not a cheap advertising piece of work. But we had the confidence that it became the whole company philosophy, this way better, and living in the Milky Way, and it gave us a platform from where we could, you know, deliver our benefits and reasons to believe out of this Milky Way and out of this fantasy brand world that we've created.
And the results speak for themselves.
The results speak for themselves. Yeah.
Kalani, the Nedbank account went out to pitch, whatever it was. It seems like just yesterday, but it was probably 18 months ago. I would suspect now, or even more. What was it that you saw in the pitch from Joe Public that really made you think that was the relationship starter that you were looking for?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. The pitch process concluded at the back end of last year, and South Africa is not short of good agencies, as we know. I guess what stood out the most was, one, their growth philosophy was not a statement or just something they said. It was evident in the results that they had achieved for their clients. Secondly, it was also a sense of commitment and passion that was evident in an owner-managed business. And lastly, for now, I would say, when relating to the team, we could see people that we could partner with, which is very important because these relationships are meant to last for a long time, and we entrust the brand to an agency to work together to build the brand. So it's very important that at a personal level, we are also able to form a partnership.
Just as a matter of interest, was Eugene part of the agency's pitch recommendations?
Actually, Eugene was not quite part of the recommendation, but, you know, credit to the agency. What was amazing was that they were prepared and determined to work with what works with the brand, to amplify and build on it. And I guess that reflected the challenge of not taking on a disastrous brand. You have a good brand and you are trying to make it better. That's more challenging than when you have a brand that is a total disaster, and the easy thing you can do, you can just throw away everything.
Pepe, now you've had an interesting ride with this agency. It started off with a very distinctive proposition of takeaway advertising, however long ago that was, seems a while. You've been in and out of ownership by other agencies. What was the point at which you settled on a business model and a strategy that clearly worked and has led you to where you are now?
I think it started happening when we saw the opportunity to get the business back. So clearly, being entrepreneurs for us, we went with the international buyout to expand on our takeaway model. That never happened, and it means for those 8 years we were never really happy or in charge of our own destiny. So when we started negotiating and finally getting the business back in 2009, simultaneously we started really questioning why we are in business. So really questioning, surely we can't just be in business to make ads. So I think the development of our growth philosophy, which was collectively done between ourselves and all our staff, which were about 30 people at that stage, I think that was the turning point for us, to really define why we are in business. And I think that's what's starting to work for us now. And we're quite clear that, and I said it earlier as well, and I don't want to sound like one of those kids at school when you pretend that you're not going to get an A and you get an A. So we're grateful for what we've got now, but we think we can add a lot more value with the beginning.
You mentioned in your case study earlier that growth had become your mantra. Is that also what you would define as your purpose? Because you used that word extensively as well.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And Kalani, does that put pressure on you from a creative point of view to be delivering work that's not only visible and creative, but clearly delivers results?
I think it definitely does, and but once again, I think because we have all rallied around this purpose which we helped to create, it's quite a challenging thing, but it's a welcome challenge every morning to see business problems and to see how we can solve them from a creative point of view, but solve them in a way that grows our client's brand, but also in the process grows ourselves.
And are you remunerated on the basis of the growth that you achieve?
If not financially, then in many different ways.
so it's annual review time, you know? But we've just concluded. But I mean, just for the record, Kholiso is a shareholder, and we really have a vision to create the first truly transformed and empowered agency in this country. So that's part of our plan. Yeah. So the remuneration is not short term, but hopefully in the long term, for all of us.
The agency also has a very strong reputation for social activism and for being citizens of society and not just facilitators of business. Kholiso, do you find that is this Pepe driving from the front and everybody else tags behind, or have you been able to inculcate the same philosophy right through the agency?
I think these things, while they may start off with individuals, they do filter into the agency, and I think just generally as a body, we do feel that there's a bigger purpose to us, not just to our people, but also to our country.
And Thulani, I think Nedbank as a brand has some very strong credentials in terms of its sense of purpose and its sense of doing more than just business. Was that one of the factors that attracted you to Joe Public and has helped to cement the relationship?
Yes, it was one of several. As I mentioned, that we could work with these people. It was beyond personalities, but also at the point of shared values. But I guess beyond that, for me particularly, what was striking when we conversed with the Joe Public team was that the dialogue was so mind-opening to us, because here we were having a challenge of making South Africa reconsider the brand, but they made us, as Nedbank people, to reconsider the brand, looking at properties like Make Things Happen, to say, you know, you've relegated this to a footnote in your communication, and there's so much power that you can bring to this. And other things that they pointed out. So for me, you know, the insights that they had and the willingness to say, we don't understand financial services, but we are skilled at what we do, and we are willing to follow insights and understand the business, made me to coin a phrase of assertive humility. And that's what I really enjoy working with the guys. Assertive humility,
that's an interesting one. And Dion, I suppose a brand that has its heritage in the cooperative structure, business structure, would also be one that would be sympathetic towards an approach that was not purely commercial but had more of a community impact. Was that also something that comes through still in your relationship?
Yes, definitely so. So we've got a big project that we're running calling Mama Africa, which is a massive, and it wins awards every year. But to come back to the partnership between a client and an agency is always built on sharing the same purpose and the same values. And I think that is the big thing that's keeping us together. So we share that same thing. It's we real people like they real people, and we build on that going forward. So whatever we do, it's real stuff that comes out. It's like the youth has been talking. You know, we don't like to talk to people and shout messages out to people. We like to engage with them and talk with them and engage in that way with our consumers.
And Pepe, in closing, if growth is your purpose, then it's not just growth for your clients, it's growth for yourselves, both financially and spiritually, I would imagine. What's down the line? You recently opened a Cape Town office. Mm-hmm. What happens when Mr. Sorrell comes a knocking? How do you cope with that?
So, that's a very good question, but I've got a very good answer, I think. I think we've gone through it once, and it's amazing to have those lessons early on in your path. So we've gone through it once. We know the context of those lessons. We were actually asked that in the pitch to Nedbank, and we were very firm that, at least for the next decade, we're firmly going to keep this business in our own hands. We've got a vision to actually create more wealth for more partners in our business, not just for few people, long term. So we don't have any aspiration to sell business. First thing we want to do is to really, really start doing great work for our clients. That's the first step. That's why I'm quite clear. The opportunity is massive. We've got incredible brands. I mean, from a Clover point of view, it's amazing that Clover has allowed us over the years, or has grown with us, or allowed us this growth. And that's why Dion's sitting here, because Clover was fundamental to our growth. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes along the way, and there was a sense of partnership to go, the intention's right, you did something wrong, let's fix it. And that's created our culture. So we think we're at a very good place, and we're really excited about the future.
Well, once again, congratulations, Pepe, congratulations, Kalisa, and my thanks to Dion and Tulani for joining the conversation and sharing your relationship with Joe Public. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause, please, for the agency's Agency of the Year, Joe Public.